Hello YouTube. EA's SimCity has been on the market. It has been released for about 7 months now. And you might remember that I did a video on the game uh, when it was just released, a few months after it was released actually. Where I claimed that SimCity at the time was the worst game of 2013 because it had bugs and the launch just went horrible. What I want to do in this video is to look back on the game 7 months later after the release, see what has been fixed of those original bugs, see if the game is, halfway decent about now, see if it's playable, what has been fixed, what has been broken, what's still broken, because 7 months is a long time to fix all the mistakes the game was launched with, so let's have a look. One of the major bugs in the SimCity with the release was the fire trucks going everywhere. All the fire trucks going to the same fire all the time. And I'm happy to report that that has been fixed a few updates ago. Fire trucks will now go to separate fires and be more efficient at at where they plan on going. So that's good development right there. Then of course we had a traffic issue, which was the traffic was going haywire, pathfinding wasn't working, cars were always taking the shortest route regardless of how much traffic was on the way. It could be a dirt road or some dirt path with dozens of cars on it, with a huge avenue going around it with no traffic at all. But also the traffic has been fixed a few updates ago, and I gotta say it works a lot nicer. I had a few cities, I have built a few cities to test this in, to test the traffic between two cities. I made an industrial city and I made a residential city, checked how the traffic was flowing, and it flowed alright. So the traffic as it is right now, it's on an acceptable level. And to reduce traffic even more, you can invest in decent public transportation, use train stations, use buses, stuff like that. It all alleviates the pressure of car traffic by quite a bit. So I was pleasantly surprised with that as well. They actually managed to fix quite a few of those annoyances. So the next thing that I pointed out in my previous video was that the education system between cities wasn't working. It wasn't working at all when the game was released. The point was that you could build one city with schools and a university and stuff, and have residents from other cities travel to your city to get their education there. And when the game was released, that wasn't working. Right now, it is working. People will travel from one city to the other to go to school and to visit university and stuff. But unfortunately, and this is really disappointing, they will get educated, but they won't bring tech level with them. You can't build a high-tech city without also having to specialize in education. The only way to increase tech level is to build a university or a community college, which is disappointing, because I would like to have one major educational city with residents and green parks and stuff like that, and one massive industrial city where I can put all my high-tech factories without having also to waste space with a university and a community college and stuff like that. So it would be really cool if that would be fixed in the future, so that you can separate those two specializations. The last big issue that I had with the release of SimCity was the nuclear power plants, which work on a mechanic that is just, I don't know, it just works very weird. Like I said in my previous video, you can build a nuclear power plant, and for some reason the town's biggest idiots are allowed to work there. I don't know a single nuclear power plant in the world where uneducated people are allowed to work. So that makes no sense, and the consequence for a nuclear power plant having uneducated people in it is that it melts down and it ruins your entire city. It literally covers your entire city, because they're so small, in radiation. So I decided to give that another test, and I started a small test city in a sandbox mode. I put down a nuclear power plant, and I just, sat back and watched what happened. The actual problem of uneducated people starting to work in a nuclear power plant hasn't been fixed. People still go, I had this little city with no schools, no education, no tech level, not anything, and I put down a nuclear power plant and people just started to work there. The odd thing is that for the first few in-game days, the power plant just said, well, yeah, everything's fine, education, everyone's educated, it's all good, it's all safe, nothing is wrong here. While obviously my education level in my city was non-existent. So that was kind of weird. And I decided to, wait it out for a little bit, because I expected to see the safety level of the power plant go down eventually. And lo and behold, after a few in-game months, the level actually started dropping. The power plant was no longer safe. Suddenly it was moderate. A few months more passed, and then suddenly the plant was unsafe. While nothing actually had changed, because the same people kept working there, because I didn't really change the city much after that. But somehow the game implies that people are getting dumber the more they work there. It still took quite a bit of time for that to happen though. I ran the game on maximum speed for about half an hour, and the plant was still standing. It was unsafe, but it wasn't leaking any radiation. I wasn't getting any warnings about radiation leaks or uneducated workers. The plant just said it was unsafe, and that was it. And in the time it took to get to that stage, I could have easily fixed it by, building schools and stuff like that, and getting the education level up a bit. That doesn't excuse the way it works, because the way it works is just retarded. But it's not as game breaking as it used to be. I don't know, I'm not sure if they actually fixed it or changed something to make it more resilient to melting down or something. But I found that it's actually halfway decent now. The nuclear power plant is usable. Let's just put it that way. It's usable. I wouldn't recommend placing it in the center of a major city if you're not convinced that your education level is up to par. And I would definitely keep a close eye on the thing and shut it down the second you see the safety level drop. Because if that thing blows up, it blows up good, and it takes your entire city with it. And since you can't reload a save game in the SimCity, thanks for that by the way, EA, you can't recover your city. So be careful with that. So overall, 7 months later, SimCity, I think they did a pretty good job at fixing most of the bugs and annoyances in the game. But, this is a major but, people have been asking for bigger maps. That's something you just can't ignore. If you go on Facebook, on Twitter, on any forum thread about SimCity, even right now, 7 months later, people are screaming, give us bigger maps. And you can't blame people, you can't blame them, because the amount of space that you have versus all the buildings, the huge buildings that you have to put down and stuff, you just barely have any space to do anything fun in your city. You have to have a power plant, you need to have police, you need to have fire, you need to have water treatment, you need to have water, you need to have a garbage dump, and you need to have residential, you need to have industry, you have to have commercial buildings, and you have to have casinos, you have to have your city specialization. The current map size just doesn't cut it anymore, especially with all the expansions that EA is happily pumping out, EA is up to their usual trick of creating expansion packs, selling them, not listening to the community. What do we want to see in an expansion pack? We want to see bigger maps. Pretty clear. What does EA give us? They give us this stupid Nissan Leaf charging station for free. They give us this theme park expansion for I don't know, what was it, $10, $15? And now they recently announced a new expansion pack called Cities of the Future, which introduces yet more huge ass buildings that we don't have any room for. I mean, come on, we have a 2 kilometer by 2 kilometer space to work in, and you're introducing buildings that take up half the map. It makes no damn sense. EA and Maxis did a good job at fixing some of the launch bugs and making the game halfway decently playable. That doesn't excuse the fact that they're still not listening to what the players are suggesting to them. You know, implementing a bigger map. We're not saying that it should be maps the size of SimCity 4, you know, like 10 times as big as it is right now. A lot of computers simply wouldn't be able to handle that, and a lot of people don't have the high-end computers that are needed to run the simulation of this game on that kind of scale. But Maxis should be giving people the option, at least, because some of us do have the hardware to run it. And even if it's double the size of what it is now, we could build so much more, you know, we could build so much cooler stuff. And it's really a shame that they're just simply not listening. So that was my verdict for SimCity 7 months later after the release. It's well worth it to reinstall it, have another look. It can be quite enjoyable. I have to be honest with myself and with you guys. I had fun testing. While I was making this video, I had fun playing the game. A lot of the problems have been fixed. It's just boot up the game and check it for yourself. And if you come across any other bugs that I'm not aware of or that I didn't cover in this video, please let me know. Please let me know so I can maybe have a look at it and devote a video to it. Thank you very much for watching. Please let me know your opinion about SimCity if you've played it recently. How do you like it compared to the launch? Did you play it at launch? And if you don't like it, what don't you like? Are you going to get the Cities of the Future expansion pack, which is rumored to be about $20, I think. Thank you for watching. Please like the video, give the old thumbs up, leave a comment, and I'll see you in another video.